August 13th, 1961. Before sunrise, something extraordinary began happening in Berlin. Soldiers appeared in the streets. Roads were blocked. Barbed wire began stretching across the city. And ordinary people suddenly discovered that their city was being divided. Berlin was becoming a city separated by a barrier that would eventually become one of the most powerful symbols of the Cold War, the Berlin Wall. To understand August 13th, we must go back to the end of the Second World War. In 1945, Nazi Germany was defeated. Germany was divided between the victorious Allied powers. The country eventually became two states. West Germany became the Federal Republic of Germany. East Germany became the German Democratic Republic. But Berlin was different. Although Berlin was located deep inside East Germany, the city itself was also divided between the Soviet Union and the Western Allies. There was East Berlin and there was West Berlin. Two political systems, two different visions of the future, and one city caught between them. During the years before the wall was built, millions of people left East Germany. Many crossed through Berlin to reach the West. They were workers, students, professionals, parents, young people searching for a different future. For the East German government, this was becoming a serious problem. The country was losing people, and the border between East and West Berlin remained one of the easiest escape routes. Something had to change. Then came August 13th, 1961. During the early hours of the morning, East German authorities began closing the border between East and West Berlin. Barbed wire appeared. Streets were blocked. Railway connections were disrupted. People who had crossed freely only hours earlier could suddenly no longer do so. The first barrier was not yet the massive concrete structure the world would later recognize. But the division had begun. Berlin had changed overnight. The wall was more than concrete. It was a line through people's lives. Friends could no longer visit friends. Workers could no longer reach workplaces the way they once had. Families could suddenly find themselves on opposite sides. Imagine going to sleep in one part of your city and waking up unable to visit the people you love. For many Berliners, this was their reality. Over time, the temporary barriers became something much more permanent. Concrete walls were constructed. Watchtowers were built. Fences, trenches, searchlights, and heavily guarded areas created a fortified border. The Berlin Wall became a complex security system. It did not simply divide streets, it divided a city, and it became a physical symbol of the division between East and West. But the wall could not stop everyone from trying to escape. Some people attempted dangerous crossings. Some tried to climb over the barriers. Others searched for tunnels. Some attempted to cross through hidden compartments. Escape meant enormous risk. People were willing to risk their lives because for them, the wall represented more than a border. It represented a life they could not freely choose. The exact human cost of attempts to cross the Berlin Wall is remembered through memorials and historical records. Each story reminds us that behind the political conflict were real human beings. The Berlin Wall soon became much more than a Berlin problem. It became a symbol of the Cold War. On one side stood the communist Eastern Bloc. On the other stood the Western Alliance. Berlin became one of the most visible places where the two political systems faced each other. For nearly 3 decades, the wall stood as a physical reminder of a divided world. In 1963, United States President John F. Kennedy visited West Berlin. Standing before a massive crowd, he expressed solidarity with the people of the divided city. His visit became one of the most famous moments of Cold War Berlin. The world was watching. Berlin had become a symbol of the struggle between freedom and authoritarian control. But history was changing. By the late 1980s, political change was spreading across Eastern Europe. People were demanding reform. They were demanding freedom. And East Germany was facing growing pressure. The wall that had seemed permanent was beginning to look less permanent. Then, on November 9th, 1989, everything changed. A confusing announcement about new travel regulations triggered a massive movement of people toward the border crossings. Crowds gathered. Border guards eventually opened the crossings. People from East and West Berlin flooded toward one another. Strangers embraced. Families reunited. People climbed onto the wall. And after standing for almost 3 decades, the Berlin Wall was coming down. The wall had been built to divide people, but people eventually came together to tear it apart. Piece by piece, the barrier disappeared. The political division of Europe was beginning to change. And Berlin became a powerful image of a world moving toward a new era. August 13 is remembered because, on this day in 1961, a city was divided. But the story of the Berlin Wall is not only a story about concrete, it is a story about people. People separated from their families. People who risked everything for freedom. People who lived through decades of political division. And people who eventually watched the barrier fall. The wall once stood as a symbol of separation. Today, the remaining pieces stand as reminders of history. Because walls can divide cities, they can divide nations, they can separate people. But history has shown that walls do not always last forever. August 13th, 1961, the day Berlin was divided, and November 9th, 1989, the night that division began to disappear. Berlin remembers, and the world remembers with it. History is not only about what happened, it is about remembering why it mattered.